All right, welcome to the demo portion of Painting Beautiful Brushwork, and we are going to be working on Crashing Wave, really kind of trying to figure out the form and the structure and the underlying values.
Can you run through those colors on the palette one more time, please?
So they're very weird. I've never in my life used anything even close to this palette. So we have black, ivory black, which again is never on my palette.
Can you also say your motivation for using these, even though they're experimental?
Playfulness, experimentation, my desire to fail spectacularly in front of my new friends. It's because I wanted to. I'm going to do it as a tonalist painting, kind of with the wipe away method, because you really intrigued me, Karen, when you asked about that. And I was like, yeah, let's try that. So I'm going to use my Payne's Gray here, which is the next one over, which is a little more transparent. And I figured and it doesn't get super, super dark. So I figured if I ever want any real darks, I can use my ivory black. And then I've got the phthalo turquoise. It's a super dark appearing, but once we start to introduce some white to it, it really comes to life, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous color. I mean, who doesn't want just even if it's monochromatic, it's just a big surface with that color on it, right? And then I'm going to see what happens when I mix Payne's Gray with that. Perfect. Exactly what I was hoping would happen. I just think, I mean, maybe I only need these two colors, Payne's Gray and phthalo turquoise and white. But I did add some yellow just so I can brighten up some of the whites if I choose to. We'll see. I might not need to. And maybe the truth is I won't even need that black, because the Payne's Gray, yeah, that's going to be plenty. So let's just let's even make it simpler. Pull away my black and my yellow, and we'll see. We'll put those in reserve if we need them. How's that sound? All right. So, and then I grabbed the cobalt teal, but I'm actually kind of curious if I'm going to need cobalt teal, because I think I can make it with my phthalo turquoise. The good thing about the cobalt teal is that it's opaque, meaning it has a lot of coverage, and the phthalo turquoise is actually quite transparent, meaning you can see through it. So I'll keep my cobalt teal up here just in case there's areas where I want thicker coverage of paint. But you know what? Let's just keep it simple. You also get to go down into the reserves. So let's just see what happens with a chromatic Payne's Gray, phthalo turquoise, and white. Sounds crazy. Let's see what happens, shall we? First, I'm going to do what I would have done if I was using Indian yellow or whatever color. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick wash on this canvas with that. Just a little bit of paint thinner. Oh, look at this. So beautiful. Done.
That's mixed.
There's no mix in this yet. That's just phthalo turquoise. Just getting it on there. And now let's just grab my paper towel and wow. I am playing with power now. That is a intense color. All right, this will look nice in somebody's bathroom that has a lot of turquoise in it.
I like the edge, which you are now wiping away, and the top, you could have just sold it as a painting.
Yeah, totally, huh? So I'm just kind of using my paper towel to kind of sop up some of the wetness from the paint thinner. And I'm going to leave this for just a minute. And I'm actually going to go grab another panel that's the same size so I can put it behind it because it's a thin profile. It's stuck behind these teeth. Or, oh, I have another idea. We'll just flip these. So you see with these, I put nails or screws on them so that I could put, when I use a flat panel, I could put it right there. I also did the same thing on the other side. So that you know, I can put panels and they don't get stuck behind this silly ledge that's on so many easels that I hate.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And so you just put the screws out, let them sit. But I've also found that by just usually, we'll see if that's the case today. Usually I can just I just put that. Usually I can just push them together really hard and it will squeeze down. And I'll put this up higher a little bit so we can keep it next to the colors I'm mixing. Don't worry, I'll slide everything down. So now with those screws that are sticking out, I don't even use the normal part and I just push together really hard and tighten it down. And there, look at that, nothing's sticking out in front of it. Isn't that nice?
Yep.
Just paint
Yeah, I
right.
love that.
Yeah.
That's your next money-making opportunity, is to design a better easel.
Until everybody just goes, those are just screws. But yeah, you're right. I'll have to like find some screws that have almost like little tiny teeth, you know, on the outside of the head, just so they grab in a little bit better. And the only problem is, oh man, it's in there. Oh, yeah, it's still in there pretty good though. Takes a little bit of effort for me to pull it out. Gorgeous. I just love this color. So again, I'm just letting it sit. It's soaking in, Karen. That's what's going on. You were asking about the Indian yellow, right? And I'm just letting it soak into that gesso that's on there. And with the idea that I'm now going to come across it with Payne's Gray, which is also, I'm using the cheap version, the 1980 by Gamblin. The cheaper, I should say. No paints, no oil paints seem to be cheap. And it is considered, and it doesn't even say, but it is a semi-transparent color. So I'm just going to grab just a touch of paint thinner to that. I'm going to go ahead and mix some of the phthalo into it. And I'm just going to start splashing in a little bit.
Do you have a reference that you're working from?
Kind of. I couldn't keep it up on the screen because I couldn't see what you guys were seeing. So I'm kind of, I'm just gonna kind of make it up. Maybe I'll use some of that painting that I did in plein air that I told you I spent so much time just looking at, and just kind of look. I'll have that maybe so I can look.
Are you using the Payne's Gray right now?
Yeah, so that's got the Payne's, this is the Payne's Gray. And I'm just kind of creating some darks that'll mostly get kind of wiped away, probably.
So as you're applying this, are you thinking about those big shapes, like where the
Yeah.
wave is curling over and making that shadow and?
No, right now this whole thing is the wave.
Okay.
But I've seen paintings that look like that and sell for big time.
I know, I need a better marketer, manager.
Well, Michelle,
Okay, Susan, Susan, you're it.
that was my background, but
Are you
I would never charge Michael anything.
Oh, good. I'll just trade you in paintings and classes.
No, you've already done that, and I'm so honored. I'm honored with a big HONORED to have calla lilies. I mean, I am a slave to that
That's
paint.
right. Yeah. I used to do drawings for a free print every month for anybody that was a member of my newsletter list, and with no preference or anything, by sheer luck of the computer gods, Susie won one of my
Yeah, I
prints.
almost fell over. It came on my birthday.
You know what's really funny is the Hannah, the lady who works at OSA in the office.
Yeah, I
her
know
husband
Hannah.
won too, and I've never met the guy. I didn't know. Maybe
Oh,
he's her
she-
boyfriend. I don't know.
She's
was-
very sweet, but she's sort of a schnooish. But you know, I gotta say, I am so indebted to you. And I did buy your book and all those prints, but I am so indebted for that. I'm your slave for life.
No,
I feel I should reimburse you for that thing, but
oh no, that was my
and it
market.
was random, huh? And
All
you
right,
know what? My husband saw that website that you just sent. Gosh, the last email, because he was a marketing director, and he said that you had superior marketing. Who's ever doing it?
that's me.
Really? You have another life.
It's a nocturne of one of my paintings.
The writing was, Craig said, was very effective. Okay.
Wow, well, I'll tell Craig thanks. I wonder which one was that, the one about art and businesses?
Well, let me go look on the Facebook here. Not on Facebook, on my email. I can't even.
Oh, there you go. Just that easy. Nocturne. Oh, we need a
That
minute.
is so marketable, that painting right there. I think Michelle should also be on our team to market it.
There we go. I'll put
Okay,
all
you have a new
There you
team.
go.
And we're local.
Done. Frame it.
Yeah.
All right, I just need some darks on the upper sides of my creek, and
I think Michelle should be your business manager. She's helping you make money, and I think I should be the marketing person.
yeah, my cheerleader.
Yeah, that's right. We're cheerleaders.
All right. Get back to the point here. So I unfortunately, when I go sideways with the brush, you guys see all that glare picks up, and then so I have to, do that because I'm just kind of spreading out the paint that I've got under there, and then I go this way, and it becomes you can see it because of the glare. So I just.
Where do you buy, Michael, where do you buy your 25 cents? You've identified them as 25 cents shop brushes, because like I don't see them that cheap. I see them for $1.25 everywhere.
Yeah, online.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
just-
Michael's will have a pack full.
No, I buy them 36 at a time.
Wow.
Not Michael's. Michael's the art store, not Michael's the teacher.
Well, that's another thing. Art supplies for you to get going. Thanks, Michelle.
So yeah, I'm just looking for my big shape. So again, I'm just thinking, what is the wave shape? I'm going to give it a little bit of an angle so it's not just big, straight across. That's too boring. So I'm going to maybe kind of think of a little bit of an angle for it. That's kind of coming up this way. And I'm just thinking big shapes to little shapes. And I'm preserving my darks for in there.
Is that just a paper towel? Like,
Yeah, so far it's just a paper towel. You can see, what's that? You see how that
Sorry, I
turkey
just
already
sneezed.
kind of stained the canvas a little bit there? That's me wiping quite a ways away. I could probably get back to white, but I think I kind of want this one on the moodier side, a little more moody, gloomy. Let's see what happens. And I'm just going to kind of figure out really quickly, this is just notes for myself. You probably won't see this very well, but I'm just going to kind of figure out what is the crashing form that I would kind of want. So I'm just going to kind of give myself some reminders here of where the wheres and the whats of this wave. I'm just using my brush, not, you can kind of see some of those lines that I'm leaving, but it's very minimally there.
This is so cool.
Good. Now, if it's crashing down here, it means it's kind of curling up from underneath in here, right? So I'm just giving myself some notes. Most of this will get nobody will see it, but it's important that I figure out how do we start a painting? How do I start a painting, I should say?
Shapes, light.
Big to small, dark to light, thin to thick.
Boom, gold star for Karen. Yes. And you are right again, Susie, that light is in it, but the light comes from my values and my colors.
Yeah, I was wondering if I got a gold star.
But so that's how I start my painting. What do I think about when I start my painting? Where's my horizon line? Again, it's going to be very atmospheric, kind of, it's back here. And it's not so imperative in this one because, it's going to be quite abstract. Where's my horizon line? And then number two, again, where is my light source? I'm just going to kind of have it a little more like it's, kind of overhead. Like I showed you with that piece of paper. I think that'll be the easiest. That way I'll do the top of the foam will be the lightest. And then I'll be able to bring in some of the sparkle into the water. I think that'll help make this the clearest it can be with this very, very limited palette. So next I'm going to come through and figure out the top of it. I know we just said dark to light, but I kind of got my darks in there already. So now let's start to figure out my lights so that I can start to design things.
I have a question. Do you think it would be more beneficial if you paint along with you? I mean, I do play them back and then paint along, but
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, the more me you can get, the better off you'll be. No, I'm just kidding. I think that that's a great thing. I would have killed to have some of the workshops and instructors that I was, able to study with, to have the ability to be sitting and writing notes or listening intently and actually observing, and then being able to go back and watch it again and do the paint along and be able to pause it and really reflect back on it and watch it. And I just think that this whole new not teaching in person all the time, I think there's, I think everybody wants to be in person and be together and painting, but there's some real advantages to this that we don't get in my in-person workshops.
I
Absolutely.
totally agree.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. It works for me. Can
Well,
concentrate more, focus
Get
more.
up and, go get your tea or your coffee or whatever else, and it's not like disruptive or whatever else. And I'm wondering if I put this top crest a little too high, or maybe what I'll do is just bring my wave up a little more. So where it folds, I often find will kind of go up right at that fold point, and then it starts to, the top of the wave will kind of come down a little bit where it is already starting to crash.
Great.
Kind of looking for some of these little wavelets that are kind of in the foreground to kind of give me a little sense of depth and just see how they look. I can always come back in and paint them in a little more purposefully with actual thicker paint. Or Q-tips or whatever I want. But right now I'm just using my big fat fingers with paper towel on top. Again, there's no detail going on yet. So creating that transition from the lighter areas to the darker areas where it gets up into the underneath the barrel of the wave a little bit. So I'm just using lighter pressure. So where I want it to be a little lighter, I can push a little harder, or I just barely want to pull off some of the paint, just push a little less. Don't really like that light spot I just put there. It kind of distracts and pulls away from this. So I'm just going to grab my brush that had my paint from before on there and just kind of scribble that out a little bit. Nice eraser tool I got here, or a redo my Control V or whatever, Control Z, whatever the Alt undo is on a computer.
I really love this method. It's much more like drawing in some ways to me.
Yeah, like drawing with charcoal.
Yeah.
You know what? I want this wave to be coming this way, and I made this weird straight line there that I don't like. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing up there. And if I put it here, let's just see if I did what I wanted, you know, and brought the light over here, see how close to the edge it is? Doesn't that just make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just pick up a little dark paint again, and we'll just kind of pretend that never happened. And what I'm going to do is just fold this back. It's kind of tough because my reference that I'm looking at now is in reverse. It's that way is crashing that way, this way is crashing this way. So really testing my dyslexic superpowers here.
Then wouldn't the white part just kind of continue off to the left there where you've got that crash, or no?
Yeah, like this way, like
Yeah.
crash. Yeah, exactly. I just didn't want it so close to the edge. So that by putting that dark back down, now I can kind of decide on and this top also, just going to bring that down a little lower.
But it wouldn't be bad if it crashed off the edge, right? If it continued with the foam.
Yeah, just get the painting to the left of it and the gallery all wet, but yeah, no, it's good.
Oh,
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's totally, you can take it off, and maybe I will just kind of I don't want it in the exciting part. I'd rather it more in the foamy part or something. It just made me feel uncomfortable when I did it. So that a lot of times is just kind of okay, something's not right. Let's test what it could be. You know, and that's just a matter of looking at perspective or looking at design, because sometimes, even if it's right in nature, it feels wrong on a painting. And that's always where it gets kind of extra tricky is, you know, do I listen to Mother Nature, or do I tell her what she's doing wrong and how it should be?
Mm.
And you know what? The more I paint, the more I am just out there just correcting Mother Nature's silly mistakes.
Mhm.
It's like, you know what? That mountain is in the wrong place. It would be far better if it was behind this tree, and giving it some nice form.
So is it your plan to turn this from a nocturne into a daylight painting?
No, but I could by just letting it kind of dry and stuff, but it is going to get more not so dark, I hope. But no, I'm kind of enjoying it right now. So I'm
Yeah.
still just kind of figuring out design and stuff, but I have a feeling, you know, that the painting will probably kind of evolve. It won't be like, okay, I'm done drawing and now the painting, now to the fun painting part. I think it's going to be kind of an evolution of, oh, I might ask one more favor from you guys. Today before we go, I had to do a little write up for my website about my new paintings, those underpaintings that I do, or the wiping away method. I've decided to actually finish those off, some of them, so that I actually just carry that underpainting style to a more completed feel, because I really enjoy doing them. So this kind of wiping away, but imagine if I just took this all the way to completion, or to where it felt like completed, and tonal, and then, you know, they're always kind of glowy. So I ended up calling them illuminated tones, which for me leans towards the tonalists, of course, one of my favorite painting genres and styles, and also the luminists, which, you know, is one of my other favorite painting styles. And I've never considered myself a true tonalist, because I like having the, you know, strong light source oftentimes, or something kind of glowy in my paintings. And I'm definitely not considered a luminist, because luminists hide their brushwork. You know, they're very refined and very clean looking, kind of void of human in the painting, and I definitely don't want that. So I combined and kind of expanded on those two styles in my own personal way. And I think, you know, that's probably how lots of people kind of develop their own taste. It's just taking aspects of what they like and disregarding aspects of what they don't like. Because, you know, it's always kind of feels weird when people are like, well, that's not actually a tonalist painting, or that's not actually a luminous painting. And I know that, but I don't care to prescribe or ascribe, or whatever the word is, to any real doctrine of painting. I don't care for that. I think it's limiting. So anyways, if you guys don't mind, it's maybe on our next little tiny break, if I can kind of run it by you and see what you guys think of my little short 1-paragraph description of how I came to the painting idea, what it is, and how it hopefully makes people feel. So you can see I kind of took some of that crashing wave down off the back there a little bit, playing up some of the foam by just simply picking up a little bit lighter, and just going to remove a little more of this so it's even lighter, so that there's even a nicer transition from the lights to the darks.
Michael, I'm not sure if it's just the glare that I'm seeing, but the wave structure on the right kind of has if I'm not mistaken, a swooping, the part where it's being sucked up is kind of going counterclockwise, correct? The barrel of the dark part to the right,
This
the
one?
dark part to the right, that part. That's kind of going counterclockwise as it's being sucked up, right?
Yes.
Okay, but on the left, that dark part on the very edge looks like it's rotating clockwise.
Okay, good. Thank you. So let's see if I can't give it a little bit of a motion.
We used to surf in our prior lives.
Oh, very cool, man. You've
Oh, way to
That helped a
go.
lot.
Way to go.
All right, well, I'm expecting a little extra good wave painting from you then. You actually
So
know what's going
that
on.
line on the left, to my left, is that like the horizon line? No.
Horizon line's somewhere back here.
Okay, so that line, what about if you softened it up a little so it looked like a spray or something?
This line here,
No, down a little. Yeah, right there.
right above the whiter part.
Yeah, because I see just a line when I look at that.
Good call. I'll definitely.
Well, don't do what I say. I'm just saying when I look at that, the line is a little too severe for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I like that.
That one surfer photo that you showed us, the spray is kind of flying backwards towards the ocean, and that's
Yeah.
called an offshore conditions, which makes for really nice waves. Because it kind of holds the support of when the wind is blowing against the curl of the wave, it holds its structure better. So surfers used to shout offshore when the winds were like that. It's kind of the Santa Ana wind conditions, and it sprays backwards like that when it's those really good waves.
Really cool. Was my description of why waves do what they do? Do you think that was
Yeah.
about the changing of the velocity of the wave?
Yes, that was great.
Okay, cool. I literally just made that up right as I was telling it to you. I didn't make it up, but I just kind of like, oh yeah, I understand what's going on.
Well, you know, it's like
Go ahead.
the water that's already crashed starts going back, you know, so that's, I think, why the bottom part is slower than the top, because that whole
Oh, that's true. You got
path
the
of
wave.
water is being sucked back. And you're-
Maybe adding just the spin drift on that line would change it a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Just perfect, Michael.
So where it's crashing, I'm gonna add a little more foam. And I don't want to, I mean, mist, but what do we call it? When the wind is blowing it back and that looks so cool.
It's called spin drift, the actual blowing off of the top of the wave.
All right.
That'd be a good title for the painting.
Spin drift, yeah. I feel like I'm doing detail work already, so what I want to do real quickly is, let's get it lighter. So I'm going to take my paper towel, dip it into my paint thinner. I always just kind of pat it off so it kind of, don't have super drippy. Make sure the paper towel, oftentimes I'll forget and I'll drag the bottom because I'll be looking at the top and the bottom of it will drag across my surface. So I always try to remember to tuck it into my hand so I don't get extra little marks. And take and soften that transition a little bit. A little more.
Now, Michael, that background, that the sky, will that lend itself to adding a bit of the yellow in the blue at the top of the wave to make that little green light that we always see in the wave?
Possibly. I don't know if this will have that so much. We'll see. But it would, yeah, it could definitely add to like a transparency. But this is more, again, I'm thinking more top lit. That green you see is when they're backlit and the light's coming through the wave. So maybe we can hint at some of it here, but it'd be kind of like right up here in the, the crest. where it goes from dark and then it gets thin and then bam. But we'll have to see if that's gonna work in this one. All right.
Don't let me break your,
Go ahead.
don't let me break your stride. Keep going.
Um, yeah, and the problem with that green is it's so gorgeous, and I mean, we all just gasp when we see it, you know, illuminating. But you know, thanks to a number of artists in the 80s and early 90s, it got so done, right? Like you just saw so many of these just glowy waves that I kind of feel like it's hard to not make it easy. If I can, I don't know if I can say that. That sounds weird, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab Q-tips for, as opposed to trying to get my finger along here. So I'm just gonna take a Q-tip, make sure it's not dripping. In fact, I'll even squeeze it off a little bit with the paper towel. Don't last long, these Q-tips fill up with paint so quick.
I saw a YouTube artist demo that the person had these pointed Q-tips. I thought, wow, that's great.
Yeah, I have some of those too. Oh, wrong end. Yeah, they're for cleaning guns.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones for putting on makeup.
Hmm.
And then I also had a student who went to Japan and brought back a bunch of really odd ones that have like ridged
Oh yeah.
things. I don't know what that would do, but also these really fine ones. Like, let's see, a normal Q-tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary, I
Yeah.
think it's like you can really stab it into your brain. A lot more. So yeah, I got all sorts. I even have like ones that are like 5 inches long, and yeah, I'm always looking for exotic Q-tips. Some people collect stamps. I collect exotic Q-tips. I'm trying to figure out what the motion is. Burn through a lot of Q-tips. A lot of turquoise Q-tips going to be in my garbage this week. Yeah, it's kind of, I feel a little bit awkward, especially now that Michelle told us that she actually knows waves and spent time on them.
I was never a good surfer, but I had fun.
There you go. But yeah, just trying to figure out, okay, what shape, what would this be doing, you know? It's kind of interesting. So I suggest probably getting a good reference and looking at it versus kind of trying to make it up as much as I am. But at least recently I was out at the coast and did spend a couple days observing and just, you know, if anybody always, you know, says, man, Mike, you're being lazy, just sitting there, you say, nope, I'm working, I'm observing. Don't bother me. Go ask somebody else to do the dishes. And I don't know if this is too much movement right there, if I should kind of possibly straighten that out a little more. Take some of that foam and stuff that's going to be in the surf and bring it up. It's lifting into the wave. One of my first plein air instructors, a gentleman named L.U. Camacho. I took a course with him out at the gorge, and I would go out and paint at the sunset, after class, and he would come out with me, but he would never paint. He would just sit there and watch the sunset, and so completely, like almost meditationally, just be watching it. And he actually would, kind of tell me that he actually gets more information that he can take to the studio by watching it and kind of just thinking about how would he be painting each passing moment and stuff, what colors, what brush strokes, and so he could be painting almost a couple paintings in his head at least. I painted mine, one painting, and scrambled and tried my best, but I still enjoy painting sunsets. So. But, if I don't have my paints, I can definitely think about that when I'm out there.
Hey, Michael, about your Q-tip technique. Do you really saturate your Q-tip with solution?
No, mostly I don't use it at all. That's just when I want to get back to white. Right now, most of it's just kind of lightening. So no, I only dip when I've told you the 2 times that I've dipped in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and you can saturate it, but then you don't want it not enough that it's going to drip, because nothing worse than having a big drip and all of a sudden remove all your paint in a line, and you have to just go through and change all those different values. So yeah, I know to be careful, and because I've messed up so many times and got overzealous with the adding paint thinner. That's why I always dap it down, or like with a Q-tip, I'll dip it in, but then I soak up some of that paint thinner and then we'll go to it. I would rather sneak up than go flying by and wipe off big areas that I did not intend to. And again, drips can be vicious if you're not intended. They can look really cool in a painting too, just like that one I showed you guys earlier. Unfortunately, those are things that you will learn over and over again by heartache.
Mm.
There's a lot of painting things that I'll tell you, but you'll still make the same mistakes just because it's not muscle memory. It's, you know what I mean? You don't have that knowledge. You're not, your body's not scared of that yet. So you're, if I dip it in there and go up and my body's like, nope, nope. What are you thinking, Mike? You know better. It saves me, but it's because, again, I've hurt so many paintings, or made paintings more difficult. And that's what I was saying about experimentation and stuff too. All paintings are experiments, and you can't fail in an experiment. You can only learn. Just like this is an experiment, right? I've never used this color combination. I'm having a great time. And I feel like I am learning some things and can have some interesting effects. Oops, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I forgot I wanted to do one more thing. I want to lighten the dark ground behind it a little bit too. I'll be coming back in and putting spindrifts back in. There's fog and light hitting from the sky back here, so it shouldn't be as dark as in here. Even if it did add some drama, I feel like it was. Couple Q-tip marks back there for interest. Maybe having a couple crisper lines back there will let the spindrifts have something to contrast against. So again, with contrast, you guys, it's not only lights and darks, even though that's the main one and what we think about the most, but contrast is also hard edge and soft edge. It's also warm colors and cool colors. It's also vibrant colors and dull colors. You can have all sorts of different kinds of contrast in your paintings that you can use to kind of help tell your story or guide the viewer's eyes around. Oh yeah, that feels better. I don't love this wave, just all of a sudden got kind of generic, just very solid. Feel like I lost some interesting motion in there. So what can I do to?
From a distance, it looks, yeah, that's it. It looked too rectangular.
Yeah, it was just a big blocky shape.
Maybe later you go back in and add a little more of that mist.
Yep, we'll bring that back in. That'll help. Well, it looks great, right? Just that, even that little spot, even though it's
Yeah.
not. So now we need some big spots. Yeah, and it's so much better having this taken away versus a big light solid, because now it feels like it's crashing and that's about to crash. So it actually even builds up almost even a sense of anticipation and motion, I think.
Yeah, yeah, much better that.
I
Hi. All right, now we need a little bit of reflection of this white in our water. It's not going to be straight across because of the waves. This side of the wave facing us is in darker, and then the tops and the side facing towards the water will be lighter, picking up some of that reflected light from the foam.
Wait, could you explain that again?
So the waves have a form, right? Like these little wavelets that are here along the bottom, they have a little triangle form, right? So the light's kind of coming from one side. So it'd be this side towards us, I guess. And then the reflection of this is hitting the other side of those. So where the reflection is, we don't see as much. So that's why we get that little bit of a shadowy more side on ours. I think that hopefully makes sense. But I'm thinking about, like I said, we think about shapes and values, and then we begin to think about form. And so now I'm beginning to think about, form. How do I make this feel like it's a concave, collapsing cylinder? How do I make these wavelets feel like little pyramids with, light hitting one side, or, they're not.
It's really impressive, Michael. I mean, that I don't know. Boy, it looks good.
It looks cold. I don't want to go swimming in that. Maybe skinny.
Without a wetsuit.
It's like nighttime. When we were in Greece, there was some holiday where lots and lots of people go out swimming on this particular night. And man, I was intimidated swimming in a dark ocean. I didn't quite love it. I have just enough of a innate phobia, or maybe it's a smart fear of sharks, even though I don't think Greece really has sharks. Or yeah, Greece.
Was
But
it cold?
did you do it?
Oh yeah, we did it. It was beautiful, and it was this wonderful full moon, and it was, this really nice group of people, and then drinking some ouzo beforehand probably helps too.
Ooh, I like ouzo.
Yeah, some good licorice flavored, crazy, whatever that is. Yeah, one of the guys we were camping with across the way from our campsite made his own ouzo, and it was really nice. Yeah, we camp when we go to Greece. Get my wife's sister and husband live in Bulgaria, and it's just a 3-hour drive to
Southwest Family
Greece.
Doctors.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I don't know why they're calling me. At least this phone. I am pretty happy here. I haven't added any white or anything, but I actually kind of maybe I'll add a little white, but I'm kind of liking where it's going. I mean, do you think I should lighten any of this up, or do you kind of like it as it's not pure white?
I like
No,
it like, I like
good.
it like that.
Yeah, me too.
It's super fun. And now I know a new color combination, phthalo turquoise and Payne's gray. And again, it's the cheap version of the Payne's gray, which leans, it's definitely more transparent, which I was disappointed when I first got it and found out how transparent it was. But then I really realized it makes this, it darkens and calms down colors
Oh,
in
yeah.
this really beautiful way. I really love it with quinacridone red. It makes this very cool, plummy, purpley color that I really like.
So where the water to the left turns over, and you've just now where you had your cloth, would any of that spritz continue like just a few peak holes down more to look like some of it is grown? Yeah. Would it just stop there, or to be more, get the eye to move a little bit more, just like even a,
Like just kind of softening.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Phil. I have a question too, along that line where you're softening now. It looks like
Yeah.
it's just too
stop.
perfectly straight. Where I think when that water hits with such force, there would be a whole lot more splash and, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing
That's
it.
what I was thinking, if it would even a half an inch down be a little splash mark to make it,
Even maybe a touch of white in that area to just
Yeah.
brighten that little
Yeah.
area.
just to make your eye
We're
move a little bit.
getting picky today, aren't we?
Well, he asked us.
It would
Are
be
we
like,
getting the commission? No.
Yeah. Oh,
I think it would be hitting and then bouncing back up with
I
some
think
white
that it's
foam.
just- I
Yeah.
agree with Michelle, because what I was trying to express is
Bubbles,
just
foam
stops
bubbles,
there. But a little bit, maybe a half an inch down, would there be, I agree with, that's what I was trying to say.
Maybe more paint, yeah.
yeah. Perfect, Michael.
Much more.
Looks more realistic.
Cool.
Yeah. And I would put like a teeny splash of tiny, like the thicker paint down a speck, just so it looks like, because whoever said it, when it hits, it's just not going to stop it, would splash a little.
Right.
It's Phyllis talking.
Phyllis, good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, thank you.
Are we too pushy?
Not yet.
Well, I
Yeah.
just figure he asked us, right?
Don't know, because I'll just turn the camera off.
Yeah, don't ask. Don't ask.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd like to jump right in that water, I swear.
Oh, yeah, especially if it's 95 degrees where you're at, I would probably. then
It
too.
is. Oh, God.
What color do I want? I'm gonna see what it does.
It snowed on the beach last night
Oh, my God.
in Oregon, yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
I'm on-
Which-
I'm-
which
In
beach?
Oregon too.
Yeah, I'm in Manzanita area.
Oh,
We had 3 consecutive hailstorms here last night
Why I go to bed early.
in Ridgefield, Washington.
Well, you guys are getting really bad weather. Weather is strange this year everywhere.
It's really
It's a
ridiculous.
burning winter around here this year.
And I heard some people very close by got snow. I didn't get that. I just got the hail. Three.
yeah, I got snow.
Mhm.
Super, super.
That is so
That
cool.
helps.
It's a little scary right now, but you know, in for a minute. Can't be scared.
It's just paint.
It's just paint. But you saw how I kind of made my underpainting quite pretty, so it gets tougher sometimes to keep experimenting. But here we go. Just keep painting, just keep painting. That's what Dora would say. Is that her name? Dory. Dory. You guys remember that from Finding Nemo?
No, I never saw that movie.
Dora, I think. Oh, that's Dora the Explorer. I don't know. Dory, I think you're right.
No, the fish one.
Dory was the fish, yeah,
And Dory has short-term memory loss.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Things that's played by Ellen DeGeneres. But at the very end, she's trying to help a whole bunch of fish get freed from a big fisherman's net, like a troweler's net. And she just starts chanting, "Just keep swimming," and they're all swimming down. And it's because it's so many of them, they're able to break the net open and free themselves. But we used to use that with my daughter when she was little. It's just keep, whatever it is that we needed her to do. Just keep hiking, just keep walking, just keep, like a mantra. So now I find myself saying that is just keep painting, just keep painting. That was a very long and not interesting story. I apologize.
That was a good story.
But you'll actually see me write that sometimes on my Facebook page. And I always wondered, did people actually even know what the heck I'm talking about, or am I just talking to myself again? All right, so I've got paint down. I actually found, I think I found where to go. Yep, I found in my daughter's little kit, a little teeny tiny mop brush or soft brush or whatever they're called. And I'm just gonna use that and soften my edges. Figure out what my splash zone is here. Michelle, what's the part where the wave is coming down called? The face?
Yes, the part that you can see that's climbing upward is the face, and the back of the wave is, of course, the back of the wave, and then you've just got the crest, or the I don't know, the wave splash, the white water.
Whitewash?
White water.
Oh, really? Like a rafting term.
Yeah. It's interesting because they measure the height of a wave from the back.
Yeah, I know. I always thought that was interesting. Heard that.
So when
Okay.
someone says like a 10-foot wave and you think, well, gosh, that looks maybe 5 or 6 feet. because they measure it from the back.
Yeah, just like surfers make it sound bigger.
Probably measure the curve of the back of the wave too. That's why it
Yep.
sounds like it's so much taller.
Is that straight white that you added?
Yeah, no, but really close. And that's why I'm subduing it a little bit here with just using a blending brush, and it looks too glowy, but now it's coming back. Now my foam got a little too big. I think I need to knock this part back a little bit. That looks like a waterfall versus a wave, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
All right. Very good. Getting there. Where did the brush go? Yeah, kind of winding down. Do you guys, is there a couple of you that would like a critique before we retire for the day? I knew I said I was going to do a couple hours, but I'm kind of getting beat.
I'd like if you had just 1 minute to look at the Ruli painting that I used, because I'm having trouble with, even though I used 3 values, I couldn't get the rocks to look like rocks. I think I should have drawn geometric squares.
I have a real problem with rocks too. It's somehow they just, I get the idea about an edge, but there's so many
I
different
know.
values.
No, maybe you can tell me, oh, you should have drawn more geometric shapes. I didn't draw it. It's abstract. It's the most, I had so much fun being loose, I gotta tell you.
Good.
Where it took me like 6 months for one painting, it took me like 1 hour for this.
Yeah, we get faster and you get more comfortable, and sometimes those fast ones are our best ones.
Really? Okay. I just need 1 minute and then you can help others. I just want you to give me one cue.
Great. Give me. All right, cool. That was super fun. I'll let it sit so I can kind of decide, what's going on. There's definitely some parts that in my continuing on, maybe it continued a little longer. Maybe the white wasn't my best idea. I kind of liked it before a little more, but that's the process.
Michael, do you have the reference filter on the panel?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand you completely, Irina.
Do you have the reference filter on the panel?
No, there's
Tablet.
not really a reference. It's kind of loosely based on, I'll pop back over. I can show you kind of 2 of the photos that it's kind of based on, but it's kind of made up, Irina.
Okay.
Michael, that part that you were just touching where it kind of bows down a little in the middle, the crest, yeah, if you kind of just, it looks like a line in a way, and if you kind of just flick it upward and away a little bit, it might look
Yep.
like spray.
Yeah.
I really like the dimension of the bowl shape, the wave that's kind of forming. I think that's really awesome.
There you go. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Didn't know you had all these wave experts, huh?
Yeah, I live and learn, man. It's good to have knowledgeable friends. That's why I always say, hang out with people smarter than yourself.
Especially surfer friends.
That's useful. Know where to get the good tacos and good surfing spots. I don't know why I said
Short Sands.
What's that?
Short Sands and Indian Beach.
Indian Beach, yeah, that's the one I know for sure because I paint over there a lot. It's hard to get parking spots to paint because all those surfers.
Do you ever go down, I think, isn't it Short Sands where you wind through the trail down to the beach, and
Oh, right,
there's some
yeah.
good surfing there.
What's It's at about
Yeah.
8 miles south. It's also called
Yeah.
Smuggler's Cove. Yeah, that's a fun place. I painted that too. I almost was going to share a painting I did there in plein air, but the waves are pretty far off in the distance. I feel like this area right in here, I got a little too smudgy, so I want to kind of introduce. Some darks in there as well.
Yeah.
I have some kind of a, not all super hazy, soft white edges. All right. I still could probably come back and even make all this lighter and even lighter here, but I kind of, you know, and then these, I see a couple really symmetrical stripes right there. So that one I should probably fix because I don't want that to dry. So, you know, what can I do to break that up a little?
So Michael, technically speaking, the two curves towards the right where you've been working, technically speaking, yeah. What is making them dark? What
Under
why are they dark? Is that
just like I showed you with the paper, right? If it's
yeah,
kind of
okay.
lit, it's going up and it's well, here I got a light above me. So watch as my hand, so this is getting the most light, right? Because the light's directly above my hand.
Let's see.
As my hand goes up, watch, it should get darker as it's getting less light.
Oh,
Yeah.
example,
Same.
good example.
There you go.
So would there even be dark further down in the flat water or not?
No, because this water is getting all the light and then
Okay.
it's going up and up.
Okay.
And not only that, right? But it's
Yeah.
starting to crest, right? So it's
Yes.
starting to roll over. So it's also casting a shadow.
Yeah, excellent example with your hand. Thank you.
Good job, hands. That's why I take them everywhere. They're good like that.
You're funny.
Yeah, this part is a little too. So anyways, there's so many little tweaks and twists and stuff, but also, you know what? It's a wave. It's a super organic, irregular form, and I like it. And I'm super excited with that, you know, just what happened. And it's a kind of a, where's the camera? You know, what a big departure from this.
Mm.
But I enjoyed both of them.
I like yours.
Yeah, and I could probably bring out, I don't know, these look a little stripy as well, a little consistent, you know, 1, 2, 3 being in similarly spaced. So it's a lot of things, but a lot of times, you know, because I haven't even stepped back from it once, not a single time, it's not, you know, that's not good. So I need to step back, let it sit for a little bit and judge it. And also these two little doop, doop, are the same. That looks kind of weird. Little bunny ears. It's a bunny getting splashed down, ears first, and they're in the waves. You don't know.
I don't see that.
Huh?
I think yeah, if you step back, you might not be so, it doesn't strike me that way, but I'm not the artist there.
No, but that's cool. That's good. Yeah. And again, it's the same thing though. You know, that's why I like to get it, you know, 5, 10, 15 minutes away so I can actually get fresh eyes too, because sometimes I'm overly loving and optimistic and think it's the best thing I've ever done, and only to come back 15 minutes later and, you know, get smacked by reality. And other times I think it's the worst thing I've ever done and come back 15 minutes later to a pleasant surprise. I'm going to go say hi to my daughter real quick. She just got home and I think she's only here for a couple minutes. And go refill my hot, well, now cold lemon water. And I'll be right back to do some critiques and feedback. So I'll let you guys look at that for while I'm gone, and then we'll come right back. So just a short break.
Shelley, are you getting ready for a show?
Are you talking to me?
Oh, no, I just asked Shelley. I didn't know you were back, Michael.
Just got back.
No, I'm just doing, I was mixing colors to prep for an ocean photo. I was noticing like the phthalo turquoise is very strong. So, but the painting was for my master's, fixing that homework. So
Oh, lovely. Oh, that's wonderful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
and tedious. Thank you.
Really nice. Yeah.
I spent last year painting plein air quite a bit because I was moving and I had a studio remodel. So I had to do everything outside. Now I'm learning that it's so much more fun just to do plein air.
Huh. Interesting.
I really haven't done plein air yet.
It will
Yeah,
change.
me neither. It scares the bejesus out of me.
No, you just can't be hard on yourself. You got to get out there and have some fun.
Yeah, and start simple because it is tough, but it's, you got to just get started. And maybe just do black and whites for the first couple time, or you know what I mean, really limit your color for a little bit.
Actually, I did with you a long time ago, up on Ecola, you know, the overlook there with Anton.
Yeah, he makes it look easy and fast.
I did acrylic paint straight out of the tube.
Huh. Oh, that's one way to start.
Why do you say it's tough?
It's just so much stimuli, and you've got, you know, with a photo, you've got your crop already, you've got your edit kind of established, whereas you've got the entire wide world out there in front of you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Oh, it's so intimidating.
Yeah, there's just a lot, and then it's the light is changing, the clouds are changing, there's bugs, there's people,
Oh,
there's
God, yes.
all the fun stuff that, you know, Mother Nature will throw at you. But that's also the thrill, that's also the fun, and yeah, and you know, you just go out there with the idea again. Whoever was saying they're kind of scared is just going out there and just getting information again. You're just trying to capture some information, and then, you know, your first couple will be tough. You'll probably put your canvas in straight light and get a little bit snowblind and realize that everything's actually much darker when you get it under natural light versus the outdoor light. You know, you always want to kind of lighten up things a little bit. Your paintings will end up being probably chalky looking.
Right.
Just because, yeah, it just looks different when you get it indoors. But the cool thing is you can always paint again on top of it. You know, just change it up when you get home and into the studio. You can, you know, always keep working on a plein air painting. So
I think the equipment piece too. I mean, that's a whole like other kind of setup, you know, having to drag easels around.
yeah. My setup fits in one of my setups fits in a little tiny, like a kid's school backpack, the whole thing. So yeah, you can make them pretty small, and then I have other ones that are just really probably like 4 or 5 feet long. Just these long pieces of wood that you put together to create like an A-frame setup. That's what Anton uses. Let's see if I've got a photo of that real quick. Photos of Michael.
Did you make the easel?
No, I haven't made any easels, but I always am changing them. So I'm grabbing a couple photos really quickly to show you guys my little tiny setup. Where's me painting with Anton?
I'd be interested in what kind you use because I only have done pastel plein air.
So here is Anton there on the left. This is painting at Indian Beach in Cannon Beach. So see these sticks? This creates a big, very, very sturdy, very strong. So I've built this same setup. I built a box. I actually took two painting panels that have the backs on them and turned them back. And I added hinges there, and I added a handle. So my box looks just like his. And I took some little locking mechanisms. And so that sits in the middle. And so you can just, it's like having a briefcase. So this is a big setup. You carry a lot of stuff, and you can see Anton's box of paints down there. So he ends up carrying a lot of stuff. Just his, I don't even know what he keeps in this, probably his brushes and stuff. And Anton never cleans his brushes. See this plastic bag here?
Yeah.
It's got paint thinner in it, kind of like just kind of a little bit of it in there. And he just throws his brushes into there and then wraps up the top of them around the handle. Doesn't clean his brushes.
Wow.
There's one of my setups back there in the background. You can't really see it very well. Here is my little cute setup that fits in a little kid's backpack. Actually, this is another student's setup, but it's the same as mine.
Tripod, okay.
Here's me.
Wow.
There's my little setup. So I like that one for when I travel overseas. So this sits and how do I get back to where I was? Oh, here's the slider. Where is it? Sorry.
Is that up at Ecola there, or is that down?
That's E. coli. Yep. So Cannon
That's where I was with.
right down there, and Haystack Rock is right there.
So who makes,
I have a lot of setups. This is another one where it's called what is that called? A French lady or something like that. So this folds up. These are, each side is half as big as this, so they fold towards the middle. So this creates a nice big platform for me. It's quite heavy though, and then it's just a wooden thing that slides up and down and attaches to a camera tripod. So this is a great one, but it's quite heavy, so it's more for car, you know, when I'm just going to walk to the setup. Here's
Could you what's the least expensive way to go that is kind of stable? Is there any?
Like this one. This is my daughter when she was a little kid. That's
Oh
her
boy.
first painting in our garden. And
Wow.
that's a French easel there. And so that big box, everything just slides in. You can keep your paints and brushes inside of it. They're just cumbersome. And they're not the lightest weight, but you can find these on Amazon for like $50, $60. And it's the whole thing, where my other ones all come in pieces. Here's me in the gallery painting on that big one that Anton was using with the big sticks and everything.
Is that yours? Is that yours, Michael?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Gorgeous. Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just had a good
Gorgeous.
picture of my setup. Here's again in Italy painting. So you can see it just folds into itself, and then I just attach my different things, my paint thinner and I added
Oh,
that's a
little
strata?
hook, so everything kind of sits in there.
yeah.
Strata?
You can actually see. Sorry, I didn't turn my camera. Oh, here we go. Here's painting in Salem,
Oh,
Oregon.
wow. Wow.
There you can kind of see it. There's this paint box here. So this one has a little tiny mixing area. It's like this big. And so I actually cut a piece of plexiglass, painted on the back with car paint. So, you know, most of them, they're usually gray, but those all broke. So, because plexiglass will snap. But the cool thing is I cut this to fit inside of this box. So I put my wet paints inside there, and I can also hold my paintings in there.
Candies, yeah.
And then you can see my super fancy paper towel holder is just bungee cord, and I just drilled holes into the plexiglass.
Oh,
Thinners hanging off there with a hook,
oh,
and just put little hooks on this bag so that I could store my brushes that way.
oh,
And it all
that's so.
fits in the backpack that's sitting right behind that box.
But you said that was plexiglass that you painted with car paint.
Yeah, on the back side of it, so that
Yeah,
it's
on the
not
back side. That's so clever. I love the, I love the functionality of it.
Yeah, and it again fits into a small backpack. And I can travel. This setup has been to 22 countries with
Mm.
me. Well, I really thought I had a picture where, I mean, here I am at the coast again. Oh, it's really tiny. Can I blow that one up?
Yeah, you can.
There we go. Pixelated, but you can see how small, and I can spread the legs really wide if the wind picks up out at the Oregon coast or in the Oregon Gorge, you know, when the wind can be really rough. I really had a picture that I thought was a good way to see it, and for some reason.
Wonder if you could use those little tent anchors like on the base of the tripod if you're on
Yeah,
ground.
there's a hook on the bottom of my tripod.
Mhm.
So I'll just fill my backpack up with a couple rocks and hang it from that, and that really stabilizes everything. But yeah, this little kit goes everywhere. Here it is sitting in the creek in the water. And yeah, and then I just attach a bag, and that becomes my garbage bag right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here it is
So
about to get knocked over by an elephant.
What brand of easel is that then?
That's
Do you know?
called Strada. No, yeah, Strada, Strada. And it's made by Brian Mark Taylor, and it's metal, but it's still quite lightweight, and it is fairly indestructible. So I have 5 setups now, but I really use between this one or that great big one, the big wooden one that Anton uses.
Okay.
Yeah, painting at
Look at that.
Multnomah Falls.
Isn't this beautiful? This Multnomah Falls one?
Oh, wow.
So much.
This.
Silver Creek Falls. Yeah, just lots of. Here's me painting on multiple paintings at one time.
Yeah, jeez. Good one.
Yeah, I made
Wow.
that. I made that into an inspirational poster.
Oh, God. I like it. Yeah.
And steps to becoming a better painter. Paint,
I like the hat.
paint more. Paint even more than that. Paint when you don't want to. Paint when you do. Paint when you have something to say. Paint when you don't. Paint every day. Keep painting. And that's by Clint Watson, but it's actually borrowed from a famous author talking about how you get good at writing, and he just changed it to paint. Is this the one? Yeah. So I guess it doesn't really show a lot more, but yeah, this is just up on the top of the hill above us. And yeah, see my little thing. So yeah, it's always fun. And every artist I know who paints for, you know, a living will always end up changing and reconfiguring and making it work for them. I think we're all a bit of
Creative.
yeah,
Entrepreneurial.
Inventive.
Inventive, thank you. Yeah, lots of different setups, but you know, if you want to look cute, evidently that's the one. Sorry, lots of them up. Can't see the hook. Oh, here we are, and this is in Spain. And yeah, so you can see there's my backpack, there's my box, and all set up. And look at that water. That's the water I want to swim in. I just painted.
Cool.
Whew, all right, we're back. Thank you. Very cool. And who wants a little critique here, a little feedback? I shouldn't even say critique.
Suzette, okay.
Suzette.
I would like some.
All right, you'll have to.
Yeah, I would too if there's time, but
One sentence. Okay, here is Ruli, if we're saying it right, okay?
Yeah.
I like you, when I went through your painting references, I was like, I wanted to make a fast decision, get started. I was in awe of the simplicity and just.
Yeah, this is really rough and beautiful of him. Like,
No, I love it.
I don't know
So
if yeah.
if you look on mine below, it got so abstract, Michael. I never painted like that in my life because I'm a detail person. I actually started off, oddly enough, like you, with that phthalo turquoise here.
Hey,
But
look at
yeah, but then I covered it all with the grays and the whites. And even my husband said the rocks need to have more values in defining it. I just thought I was making sharp edges, but they don't look like rocks. I mean, the left and the right looks horrifying to me. How would I make that look like his with the angles and the rocks? But God, aren't those amazing? They're so heavy and I blew it.
No, no, you haven't blown it. You just need to go back in and give them some edge quality.
Should I draw boxes? I mean, I was thinking maybe I should have drawn the boxes or something.
I mean, yeah, to a degree, they are boxes.
As you talk about big shapes, maybe I did it the way you taught us, but with lines and stuff. But how would I make that? And I actually did use 3 colors, and I used red and ultra to get like the darker down below, but I didn't pull it off. Yeah,
Well, again, let's just literally, I mean, just look at this edge
yeah,
and look at his edge. Sorry, I can't
Yeah.
blow it up more.
that's okay. The painting
But
just
yeah,
took
that's the big thing is he's got soft edges up here, but look at this edge. And now look at that edge. They're
Mhm.
much closer
I see.
than that edge. So what kind of brush are you using? What shape?
I don't want to tell you. I'm using hazelnuts. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's a big part of it is those filbert brushes don't want to make
Filberts. I call them Oregon hazelnuts.
There you go. That's even worse. They those are just round on top.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make crisp edges. You need a flat, squared off edge. So
Okay.
this is your excuse to go to the art store and buy some flats. You want that squared off, nice edge, and then you don't want to abuse those brushes too much. That's the thing is I have to be careful. Is I will forget to put them down and start scrubbing away with them, and all of a sudden they become hazelnuts as well. And I want to keep them. I want to keep. I want to keep my flats flat for as long as possible. And I have so many worn down brushes, I can just pick those up whenever I need them.
So to get his rocks are so stunning. I thought, well, maybe I ought to go back in there and draw dimensional boxes all over and then do light and dark. I don't know what.
Yes, these are basically, boxes, but if they were just squared off, they'd look silly.
Oh, okay.
Like somebody dropped a brick in there, but yeah, but they are basically blocks and he keeps his edges, it's got a light
Yeah.
side, a shadow side, a light side, a shadow side, crisp edges. He does, back in towards the wave again. Sorry, I can't zoom in, but the edges do get a lot more misty and atmospheric back there.
The mine's too abstract. I love the light in his paintings. I've looked online and seen some more of his seascapes. I've loved them. Boy, mine sure looks like trash. I'm embarrassed.
Reversed it. Your light is coming from the left. His light's coming from the right.
Okay, I see that.
So where's your light source? Don't want it to be bouncing back and forth. And then here's the other thing is he's doing a lot of these crisp lines with pretty much one good strong brush stroke probably to create that edge. Whereas I can tell just by looking at it that this is 1 brush stroke, 2 brush strokes, 3 brush strokes.
Yep.
And if you're going to do that, reload your brush, get it, clean it off, because now you've picked up some of this white and some of this brown, and you've created in between.
I know.
brown.
It's getting
So yeah,
muddy.
yep.
I'm gonna go back in on it. So I just wanted to know if I should draw boxes.
Yeah, I mean, like these rocks work because they're kind of back there in the fog.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's that. And this has got some nice shape, and let's just have your light coming from the left versus like his is on the right.
Isn't that beautiful? His painting. I mean,
yeah, but his isn't only dark and light, right? What else is going on here?
he's got yellow in there. I put some yellow, but it doesn't show on mine.
A little bit, yeah. And where the yellow touches the gray, it turns to green. So you got to be kind of careful.
Okay.
If it's transparent or if it's wet and mixing in.
Do you think he used a palette knife maybe for those?
I really can't tell you, but I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that's how I wanted to know if I should go in and do boxes. I've never worked so abstract in my life. I'm like over detailed.
Well, and I mean, this can totally work, and it has a nice feel and action and emotion and different things going on. But yeah, it's not. This doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, good. Thank you for telling me that, because I felt the same thing. It's a failure, that bottom part.
Right, it's so wishy-washy and half
No.
formed that it's not in fog, it's not, you know what I mean? It's kind of, unfortunately, in that kind of uncomfortable middle of nothing, so it becomes nothing.
Okay,
You know,
that's
you've got some crisp edges and those work. And then you've got some really soft edged ones and those work because they're back here, but this, yeah. And yeah, just get a flat brush. That's what you need. And you're just gonna watch the angles and come down and chop and crop, you know, and then pick your brush up, make this line, pick your brush up, wipe it clean because you've probably picked up a little bit of this. Reload your brush. Don't just keep dabbing.
okay.
Yeah, you've got to be purposeful with your brush strokes in at least certain areas. Or you want
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard Richard Schmidt once said, talked about students that lick at the canvas with their brushes.
Yep. Yep.
Huh. I have his book. Let's see. You mean they just lightly take the brush like
And dab, dab, dab.
Dab, 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 licking.
not like Bob Ross who licked his brush.
No, more like a cat licks water, probably.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to take any more of time. Other people would need your expertise. Thank you so much. I'm going to still work on it.
All right, who is next?
If you could take a look at mine, Vivian.
Who's that?
Vivian.
Vivian. Oh yeah, right there. Great. So you did this nice, looks like, is that from one of my photos or is that?
Yeah, it is. It is. And
That's
that's
so cool.
definitely,
Wow.
I've worked on it some more since I posted that this morning. I haven't done anything with the top part. And, you know, I took a canvas that I
Recycled canvas.
I covered over and there's a lot of texture in it, which is not, it's kind of working against me.
Certain this one here, but like the water and stuff doesn't really bother me. But
Right.
But that's good. That's good for practice. And the other thing, Vivian, is once you've got your design and kind of your temperatures established, then go ahead and mix up some thick paint and just come down and put down big, thick paint, you know, over areas and create a new texture over the top. And
I don't know if you
force you to use thicker paint if you want.
Can you see what I hold up in front of my screen, in front of my camera?
Stop share here. And I will hold on one second. There we go. Who am I seeing?
Vivian,
There we go. Okay, yep.
you see that?
Yeah, wow, nice and big. Oh no, it's not big, it's just close to the camera.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I've kind of come back. I've been working on it a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's already reading better. And I see that you covered the spot on our right side, your left, with the dark paint and created a new thing, probably a rock that will be in front of that log.
Right.
And, yeah, absolutely. And I can really feel the light coming across as it's going from the right and then hitting, you know, streaming across, hitting things on their right side. And so that's the main thing that I'm looking for is a light and dark pattern. You've got, you know, most of your rocks have fairly firm edges. You'll have to refine some of them still, but yeah, no, it's really coming along. I love the light and shadow and the waterfall and stuff like that. It's really, you can really feel the cool in the shadow on the waterfall.
The rocks are terrific, Vivian. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's coming along. I think, you know, 1 or 2 more visits and you'll be golden with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I got to it really late. I started on it yesterday afternoon. I just having to do one homework a week seems with all the, I'm in like 3 classes at the same time. So I'm just took on too much, I think.
Are you finding that the classes are feeding into each other or are they fighting each other?
I think that each one helps the other in different ways. Yeah.
Good. You have this white right here in the rock.
Oh, I can't see what you're looking at.
The secret. All right, let me see if I can get back to, where am I?
Looks
Yeah.
like something's
Yeah,
blocking
no,
the camera, maybe?
Padlet.
No, it's there we go, spotlight for everybody. Oh, screen share anyways. Yeah, I knocked down my camera because it's kind of stands in my way.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah, it's I can't see. I put it up in front of my camera or the screen, so I look like I'm actually looking at the screen versus down at my camera. Anyways, here you go. See this white here?
Yeah,
I'm not.
That's-
It wants to be water to me because
Right.
it's a color versus light on the rock. So
exactly. And I've come back in, you know, since I put that up, I've come back in and have been working on that. I don't know how successfully, but anyway. It's
yeah,
tough when you really can't see that whole chunk of rocks on the right side. In the photograph, there's no detail. So it's like I'm making it up anyway.
yeah, but then you just look to other rocks that are giving
Right.
you information, and you start to
Mhm.
incorporate little bits of
Yeah.
that. You know, maybe it'll be more not as light as this because it's in a
Right.
stronger shadow area, but yeah. Or just look up some references of rocks on a waterfall or rocks on a cliff, and yeah, I'm always combining photos. Yeah,
Okay.
but the big dark doesn't bother me too much. I mean, you have a semblance of some kind of form in there, and so
Okay, thanks.
nice. Yeah, you can definitely feel the light and dark pattern. That is the main thing. And now you're to the fun part. Now you get to
Right.
add paint and color and brush strokes and soft edges for areas and strong, crisp, sharp edges. So you're in a good spot. Yeah, Sully, would you like to talk about it's the same image? Nice. You made your waterfall even bigger and more it looks stronger. Nice. I like how it's kind of rolling up and then up again, and you got some different forms going on. Are you there, Sully? All right, so if you get a chance to watch it, nice job. This is a great beginning. Again, you just like Vivian, you're developing your light and shadow pattern, your lights and darks. Yeah, I think one or two more visits to this, and I think you're in a good place. All right, anybody else here?
Yes, I would like to, you to look at
Go ahead, Irina.
my grayscale photo. Can you talk about how you what does it say to me? How you I mean, how can it help me in the process? What should I look at?
Again, just like we were just talking about, you're developing, especially with the grayscale like this, which you've done a nice job. You're looking for those light and dark shadow patterns, and you're looking for the structure. So it looks like you've done a pretty good job. It maybe got a little bit busy, but that's part of the problem with that reference in general, is there's just so many steps in that waterfall, right? Where it's comes down, levels out, comes down, levels out, over and over and over again. And yeah, I'm trying to decide which one maybe you used as a reference. Here we go. So here we go. Is this the reference that you used?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to look at really quickly is that it's, you've got these little steps down here, little tiny waterfalls. They're beautiful in their own right, but they're all varying sizes and they're all different. And then you get up here and you have a big one, and then two little ones, and then a big one, and then a couple little ones, big one. And they're not repeating. They're not really the same size, hardly ever. When I look at yours, it's really 1, 2, 3. They're all the same size.
Okay.
So yeah, I would probably, get rid of a couple of those and make them into bigger ones. Right. Let's go back again. See how it comes down, little, bigger, little, big, right? So you're getting more variety. You do have the bottom one, but after that, if I measured these, they're really close. and it looks almost like literally like steps.
Yeah.
So watch out for that repetition in there, and that'll create more variety. And variety is, absolutely the spice of painting landscapes, is finding the variety of sizes, shapes, temperatures, values, colors, all those things is really helps us a lot. And your question was, how does this help you?
Yes.
Well, what it does for me is it allows for me to now know, what is in light, what is in shadow. And unfortunately, because the light is actually behind these trees, all of this is in shadow. All right, so that's out of it. We're not really looking at that. But what then we know is that the light is not only from the sun, it's also reflecting down again off the sun is bouncing up, hitting the top of the sky or the dome of the sky, right? Like our atmospheric layer, what we see as the sky, and then it's bouncing back down. So that's how we're getting these trees having some light on them, right? They're much lighter than the strong shadow underneath them that's getting no light. So what that does is it allows me to know at least I'll have a stronger, brighter light up here in the sky area that's being affected by the sun. Also, the trees back here are catching some, well, they're catching that sunlight, right? You see that? And then I know in here, this whole thing is in shadow. But within that shadow, I still have light and dark, but none of it's going to be as light as the sky or the sun, right? So then I can work within that range of in my shadow range. Let's see if I go back. I think there was one photo where it is being hit by sunlight. And you can see, look at now where the water is being hit by sunlight, how different it is than the light that's in the shadow, right? The light that's catching a little bit of sunlight right on the top there. The light that's catching a little bit of sunlight right at the top of those waves, the top of that waterfall and top of that waterfall, right? Does that make sense? So here you can see it's obvious, like this tree is catching the light. This tree is catching no light. These bushes are catching light. This bush is not catching any light. So there's a big jump. If you squint your eyes, these things over here in the shadow almost turn to dark, whereas these really keep their shape and form. So that's a lot of times what the lights and darks are doing for me, is helping me to figure out what's in light, what's in shadow, what's in direct light, what's in like in bounced light or reflected light or light that's coming, more diffused and softer from the dome of the sky. Because when it goes from the sun, hits the dome of the sky and then comes down, it's definitely not as strong as the direct light from the sun. So,
but do you think that it is a little bit too dark anyway when it comes to the trees here? Yes.
yeah, that's up to you. And again, acrylics always get darker.
This is oil.
Oh, wow, you did your underpainting in oil. Good for you.
Yeah, it's all oil.
Yeah, so you could lighten up the tops of the tree a little more if you wanted to. That's up to you. But I did see, I think, did you go ahead and paint over it already? Oops.
No, you're not there.
Where is Irina? There you are. So yeah, so here. So it looks like you've already kind of started to add your color. And
no, I didn't directly. I didn't do any.
Two different paintings.
I started with color.
Yeah. So you did a color one first, and then you did your black and white one.
That is just a grayscale photo of my work. That's the same.
Okay. So yeah, that is a great way to test it. And if we turn this towards grayscale, or if I squint my eyes down, which is how I will usually test values, because you'll see where like this little lighter area versus the shadow here, when I squint my eyes, it almost disappears. So I know that these values are really close and that this is quite dark. when I squint my eyes here, even though it's not in strong light, it's still much lighter than the dark. So, you know, that's just giving me a little bits of information. So yeah, I can definitely, you can lighten these up, but because they're not in direct sunlight, I probably wouldn't make them too warm, and they're pretty cool green, you know, versus the warm greens up here in the far distance that are actually catching that direct sunlight. But I think you've done a pretty good job.
Can you look a little bit closer at my brushwork, because I have a problem. I don't like my brush work. It is not sharp. When you look at it, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look sharp, like you want the edge to be more crisp.
Yeah, maybe, but no, I don't know, because when I make sharp edges, I don't like it either. So I use a lot of mop brush, and then it I don't know, I don't understand how I should do.
I'm just bringing it up on a different thing, so it won't let me zoom in on the class, but here we can zoom in. So here you want the soft edges, but let's look at the rocks. So yeah, these rocks are not they're pretty soft. And then, so if we were to look at it, let's even look at them closer. And this is just what we were talking about with Susan as well, is you see how you have the rock and then the shadow, and in between you have kind of a soft edge.
Mm-hmm.
So you want a crisp edge.
Okay.
So something's happening in that in between. And, you know, I don't know exactly why the paints are blending, if you're just kind of softly touching in between or what. But a lot of times for me, Irina, it's about having a good clean brush loaded with paint. So, you know, I'll put down a couple brush strokes and then I'll pick my brush back up off the canvas, maybe only one brush stroke, maybe two, and then I'll wipe it off and then I'll reload it with more paint. And then I will hit it again. When I want crisp edges, I want a nice clean edge, and I will use my flat brush, the brush with a nice squared off edge.
These stones, they looked not so they don't have these sharp edges.
Yeah, so they do have sharp edges, but they're rounded. They have a crisp line between them. Let's see if we can pull up. Oh yeah, you've just kind of added in. But yeah, you see, like, sorry, I have to keep doing this. It won't let me just save there. All right, so let's zoom in on these rocks. And you remember the little bit of in between, right? It's a bad pixelated photo. But if we look to where a rock meets a shadow, there's a crisper edge, especially if you squint your eye. It doesn't, slowly blend. Look at this edge over here versus the waterfall. See how it's pretty sharp? Again, there's a pixelization going on here, but that's what's going to help. Yeah, these rocks are really, really soft, and the water rolls over them and it makes them all rounded. So it doesn't, I don't mean, when I say a sharp edge, it doesn't mean that they're all angular and sharp, but that they are still have a nice edge quality,
Okay.
that will help dissipate, especially, and that's kind of up to you, especially if the photo isn't doing what you want. And this is it looks like a bad quality photo. But when we pull it back, you can see how sharp this feels, how this edge here feels sharp. This edge in here feels very soft because it's got the water and the atmosphere and the fog, mist. The same with the tree has, kind of a nice sharp edge, especially on the side that has a little more light, has a softer edge on the shadow side where it kind of blends in. So yeah, and it's up to you to kind of make edge quality where you want to see it and soften edge quality where you want it. You know, soft edges, harder edges, softer edges. This whole area is kind of softer. Everything's kind of just, and then, you know, harder edge. Look at that. So it's up to you, and you're able to use and manipulate. You know, you don't have to copy the photo, but if you want this to feel, you know, different, like the rocks to feel more rock-like, but this is limestone, which is a very soft stone. So yeah, they do have an odd effect. So anyways, let's not get rid of that, but
Okay, thank you.
yeah, did that make sense? I hope.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, so that's a big part of brushwork, is looking at edge quality. You know, how do we make a sharp, crisp brush stroke? How do we make a soft, diffuse, or, you know, softer edged brush stroke? And it looks like you're definitely getting some softer ones and some harder edges in some spots. But yeah, for whatever reason, your rocks don't feel as crisp.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it always has to be light versus dark. It could be light on mid. It can be whatever on mid value. Which one do I want? This one. Save changes. Did I change it? Just go. Okay. Karen, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Very nice. Warm and cool. The light and dark in here is reading pretty well.
Yeah, this waterfall, it looks like, you know, kind of skeleton fingers hanging down. I would just, if you could give me some suggestions as far as what am I gonna do with that waterfall? It's the Multnomah one it's the dark. That's what I mean. There was so much information trying to make it, you know, like in the waterfall itself, all these little, the rock that's coming from behind. I just really struggled. The rock from behind the waterfall itself. No, not that part, but the lower part. How there's so much, not that one. Well, that one too. But then below that as well, there's this amazing amount of information coming, you know, in the shadow area of the waterfall itself. I just can't produce that for some reason. Maybe it's,
well, I mean, it takes time. Again, it goes from, you know, big shapes to little shapes. So just getting to the little shapes and all the detail can definitely take a long time. I got a duller version of it here. Not seeing that super vibrant version. Oh, here we go.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so when we zoom in on that, you know, and again, what, something to remind yourself is this is how a camera sees. This is not how we see. This stopped the moment, but we see all this motion, you know, and softer things. So in waterfalls, a lot of times I will soften that just to make it feel more pleasant, because the truth is, painted water like that doesn't feel like water to me. It looks like ghosts and scary stuff. You can also, you know, this waterfall is changing every day between how much water in it and how, you know, what time of year and everything. So you can just put more water in there and have more coming over, you know, so it's a little thicker and you're not seeing all these little rocks and things in there. And this is because it's taken, you know, pretty much at midday, which is the only time this place gets light because it's in a canyon. And so the light's hitting down, there's, you know, mist and water in there that's catching that light. That's how we get this real soft, diffuse, warmer colors. And then these trees, of course, are catching that light. So the light's kind of right coming down because that back wall is not in light. So we know the light's missing it. It's coming down and just catching the rim of this. But there's mist in there that's catching the light, and that's what's warming up these colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then you're just going to want to look to you know, what kind of information can you get. It's definitely all in shadow, so none of these are as bright as this, because otherwise that'll look like they're catching the light. You know, this branch is sticking out over here further out, so it's catching some light, but I would probably just ignore it. And yeah, it's just up to you, you know, are you gonna put all these little people in there? Are you gonna, you know, do you need every leaf, or is it okay to just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I'm always squinting my eyes and saying, you know what, for most of the painting, how
Yeah.
I see it with my eyes kind of squinted, looking through my eyelashes is pretty much good enough. And then, you know, maybe in the focal point, maybe I would come in and bring some nice harder edges, some more detail and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you still have room. You get to come in and lighten that, warm that up. I mean, a little bit if you want. Your darks, at least in this photo, look really dark. So you can decide if you want to come in and lighten that up. But again, remembering that it's all in shadow. So you've done a good job. This waterfall actually has light on the top of it versus on this side. So it gets darker, cooler, and lighter and warmer as it gets up here.
Yeah.
So you've got quite a bit that you can still do, but I don't want you to paint this that looks just like that. I don't think that would look that good personally. Where is, so yeah, I wouldn't overly fret about detail. I think you've got enough other things to focus on and work on before you get to the ultra detail. When you go to galleries or when you're looking through art books and stuff, is the ultra detail photorealism the stuff that you're drawn towards?
No, not really. But I didn't think that mine looked like a waterfall. That's what the thing is. It doesn't look like a waterfall, and I'm trying to figure out why, because it looks to me more like two skeleton fingers hanging down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, like this line here can get, it's a matter probably of softening those is probably what I would do, is kind of blend that out so you don't have dark and light stripes as strong. You know, they are there in here because there's a rock right there that's stopping the water. There's whatever, a rock there stopping the water. But if the water was just, you know, if it rained the day before, the water was just a little bit higher, you wouldn't have that. And also if we were taking this with, if we were taking that with, I'm having a hard time finding the photo that I want.
It's funny because even on that photo though, I can see the skeleton fingers right under the bridge.
Right here it is.
Yeah,
Here-
thanks. Yeah.
So here's with a slower aperture, right? So that other one captured every little driplet and made it all very pronounced and strong. But here's with where this is a little more how we see water, because it's in such fast motion. You know, it's softer, it's more, and yeah, don't worry about replicating this. Nobody's gonna care if you get rid of some of the skeleton fingers and make it just a little bit more blended, like down at the bottom here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Just throw
good.
in some more water. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes the waterfalls do look like skeleton fingers, because I mean, that kind of does. But if you don't want that, don't do it, you know, change it, make the water faster and stronger flowing.
All right. Okay, well, still working. Thank
Yep.
you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that just to me isn't exciting or dramatic. And it's also, if we were to zoom in, this texture looks like this texture, right? Just with different colors. This is in white, but it looks all broken up and, you know, little.
Yeah.
So, but I would want to save that for my leaves, to make my leaves feel like leaves. So yeah, good question. Good question.
Well, thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Michael, it's Lisa. Take a quick look at the studies I did of a local waterfall.
All right, so here, oh, no, that's Leslie, sorry. Leslie's got an interesting one where the waterfall is just coming out from the side of a hill underneath all this foliage. That looks kind of tough to describe. That might be a tough because there we kind of know what it is, but when you paint something that's a little bit weird, that's looking all right. Yeah, that can be tough though. So sometimes when things are really odd, okay, where was I going? Lisa, there we go. All right, a nice canyon. What is this, Canyonlands, or what is this? Where is this at?
Yeah, that's in Redstone, Colorado, about an hour from my house.
Okay.
Not
Why do
what
they
I'm
call it
seeing.
Redstone?
What I'm not seeing what. No, other Lisa. You're on Leslie again.
I'm on Leslie
Nope.
again?
Yeah. Nope. That's not mine. Mine has red stones in it. There you go. That's the one.
Oh,
That's why it's called Redstone.
no, I know. I'm just kidding you. Yeah, so I bet you already know what I'm gonna say. And it's the
I do. This is just a quick study because I'm gonna do it for my final project. So go ahead and say it.
same- no, I wanna hear you say it. What am I gonna say?
Shadows and color temperatures.
There you go. Yeah, and these
Yes.
red rocks and canyons can be so crazy because of all the reflected warm light bouncing back into the shadows and stuff. It's always interesting when you see those pictures of Arizona, of those really wavy looking canyons that, you know, people
Mhm.
love. And all the light bouncing around within them, that makes
Right.
it so interesting. But yeah, do you have the reference posted at all?
No, I don't. I have it. I can post it later. But
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. You know, my first thing is I quite literally don't know if or where the light source is at all, really.
yeah, it's from the top and it's a really deep, narrow, tiny little canyon.
Okay, so most of this will be in shadow.
So almost everything is in shadow except the very top.
Back here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of hinted towards this earlier, this idea of you're very drawn towards certain subjects, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, you know, and they're great and they're beautiful subjects. But I do notice that a lot of your photos are left a little wanting as far as how do you present the subject in the best, I guess, light. How do you present? And you know, and so if you want this to all be in shadow and only the light up here, it does something interesting a lot of times, because this is a painting about a waterfall coming through the Red Canyon. So therefore, this is our subject. And when this is the only thing getting light, they're going to fight. That's that whole prima donna.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I would personally probably like pretend that a little light is at least hitting the top of it.
Okay.
Or something like that, you know, just kind of like the image that we were just looking at of the waterfall of Multnomah Falls, is, you know, you can capture a little rim light like it's hitting in here or something.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I mean, literally me going through all my references of waterfalls and even a lot of my waves, because the Oregon coast is always so overcast. It's hard to photograph waterfalls in a good, interesting way that has nice, interesting light. Right?
Yeah, especially this one. My God, I mean, it's, you know, I've been there. We're driving by it on Thursday, and you can't take a picture of it in light in that canyon. Like, you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a waterfall that we visited, you know, and
right.
Waterfall is in pretty much shadow. There's like one little point of light, and then this little guy catches a little bit of light, you know, and it was beautiful. And I actually, you know, this has a lot of debris in front of it, but I still found it beautiful and interesting, but it just doesn't have a good light and shadow structure. Like if I squint my eyes, it's still just chaos, right?
Right.
I don't know. This would take a lot of mental effort for me to figure out, how do I edit this? How do I present it in a way that's going to be interesting? So again, I'm always squinting my eyes looking for a light and shadow pattern. Again, this one has this really nice bowl of a light and shadow pattern.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm always looking for that. So you may even use that and pretend that maybe some of these bushes are catching a little light. Careful, these two guys are really right on top of each other, or mimicking each other. If you kind of created some light, like the light, let's pretend if this guy's catching the light, does that mean it's coming from the left probably?
Right. I found a super cool picture of the same falls online that's not copyrighted, where they did, I don't know how the photographer did it. He must have climbed up on the wall, but that's kind of what I wanted to do for my final project, because it has this really cool light source coming on this particular canyon.
Right. Yeah. so
I'll try
this-
and post that too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
The difference between this, which shows a beautiful waterfall,
Right.
and this, which is a beautiful waterfall and interesting light, right?
Mhm.
Which one's more interesting? This does have
Yeah,
the-
obviously the light.
yeah, but this has a lot more drama. I'm constantly thinking of Ansel Adams and his black and white photos,
Mhm.
right? How did he make black and white so, I mean, just jaw-droppingly amazing and interesting? And it was his use of light and dark, and how he would lead the, the eye and everything else. And he was in there in his dark room. I think it's called dodge and burn is the technique.
Mhm. Yeah.
So he would actually be in there with a physical object, making it so parts of the photo as they're developing weren't developing as much, and other parts were overdeveloping, so they'd get darker. And he was really manipulating the photos. And he, people will like accused him of cheating. And he's like, no, I'm trying to convey how this place makes me feel. And photos, if I just take a straight photo, it's not doing it. So constantly also thinking about that, because again, you've got nice colors, you've got interesting form, there's a lot of good things going on here. But to me, it's just a painting of a photo. And I think, again, I push you, I push you hard because I know that you are ready for that next step where it really does become about light, dark, and color temperatures.
Well, no, and Michael, I mean, I came to you and I was like, I want to learn to paint light. So it's good that you pushed me to do it.
Shadow over and over, so it's kind of a.
I know. I fight myself on it, but no, it's good, and that's exactly what I need to hear.
Yeah. So again, I hate to like toot my own horn here, but this is the same thing, right? This is a waterfall that's in shadow, and your odds of catching this waterfall in the sunlight, unless you're at high noon, are pretty low. And luckily, the sunrise, as the sun, I call it sunrise, but it's still, in the sky. It's not noon yet. Comes through, breaks, and it has to be the right season, the right time of day. I mean, it's not an easy thing to catch where this gets this interesting light, because you just type in Punch Bowl Falls, Eagle Creek Trail, you'll find hundreds of photos of this waterfall because it's famous, but hardly anybody gets it at a good, interesting time. And that's just, it's like, I don't know. So imagine again, like an elk, standing in a field, and like a lot of people just paint it and it's an elk in a field, and it's nice because it's got a nice subject, an elk in a field, especially if you're a hunter or somebody that's into that stuff. But if you take and make the elk in the mist, lit right, and everything else, then it's a whole nother level, right? So again, you need to go beyond subject, literally light and dark, shadow pattern, visually arresting. Again, I'm just looking at different photos, and stuff, and not a good photo, but I luckily caught, all in shadow with the little bits of light coming through. Just makes this way more interesting than if it was just flat.
No, that's good. That's what I need to hear.
Yeah, and waterfalls are tough. They are tough to capture.
No, boy. No kidding.
It's hard enough.
I don't have a problem with the actual water or the waterfall or the rocks, but for me, it is that lighting thing. So
like
punching it up.
My photo of Iguazu Falls, and it's nice, it's dramatic, it's there's Iguazu Falls, but it's literally just there I am. I'm just a tourist taking a photo at the moment I happen to be there. Whereas beside me there'd be professional photographers literally not taking any photos, hanging out and talking because they know the light's not going to be good for 2-3 more hours, right? And when you go out to the gorge here in Oregon, the Columbia River Gorge, you'll go out, if you go out before sunrise, there'll be a bunch of photographers sitting and waiting, talking to each other, comparing notes. And then all of a sudden the sun comes up and they're at work, they're busy, they're snapping photos, and then the sun gets a little bit higher above the horizon line and it's empty and they're all gone, and it's just me and my paint setup trying to remember.
Yeah, my son does that. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
on the sun. And he loves, I mean, he only goes out, first thing in the morning at 5 in the morning or 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, there's
So-
such a difference between a tourist and a professional photographer.
Mhm.
And so many, like when I'm judging shows and stuff, people mistake subject for a good image. And we want to paint
Okay.
good. Cool.
Got it. I'll
Awesome.
work on it.
You are gonna do it. You're gonna do great. And again, it's not bad. And people would like this and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's Blah Diddy Blah Falls and the Red Rock Canyon."
Right. Right.
And that's totally great. But we want to go beyond that.
Yes, and I do. And so, I just got to push myself.
All right, cool. Anybody
All right.
else up on them for a little bit?
I just last night, this is Michelle, needed to do something and I was just so happy that I had that little black and white there. And it's just a quick showing the step 1, 2, 3, and 4. The bottom right is where I ended up. I like the colors in the bottom left better, but I just kind of kept doing the wipe away and I'll go back in and maybe add some more color.
Delightful. Yeah, I do like the number 3 the best. I don't know if it just got wiped away one more time and it just kind of
Right.
pushed down, but
It's because of that area in the middle left side sky that
oh yeah.
no, down right in there. It kind of looked weird there. So I wanted to, I'm gonna paint over that, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says you can't even just glaze again and add a little bit more color or
Right.
whatever with a little more. But yeah, this is fantastic exercise. This is a charming little piece. That looks like an illustration you'd find in the little book, and very nice. I like this. I wish you would have been able to stop here, but we never know, right? We always want to keep going, and you'll be able to get either back or it'll just be we'll have a 5th and a 6th photo soon to go in our series.
Yeah.
Pretty fun to see, like, black and white to crazy color. And I'm glad you took a picture at that stage. I should start doing that before I wipe away, just to freak people out, because yeah, that looks a lot of people would say it looks really beautiful, but it looks really intense. Yeah, this is fun. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I see the little detail of your fence in the water or something, I guess. I don't know. But that's really nice. It really looks like a flooded farm or something that way. I don't know. I don't even know what those lines are. Maybe that's
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think, yeah, I don't know either.
Mhm.
Maybe it was an accident, but that I didn't catch.
Very cool. I like that. Thank you for doing that. And yeah, sometimes just 20 minutes of painting can be a lot of fun. Linda, you got some nice trees. Those are the ones we looked at last week. And
Look at that one there, Carol's.
yeah, is Carol here? This is really nice.
Talk about a dancing tree.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't look like Carol is with us right now, but yeah, this has got some really great things going on, and especially within the tree and these crisp lines. Yeah, there's a lot of fun. I can see this texture underneath, or she kind of came back in and redrew some of these lines on top of the light, which is kind of nice, can be a great effect. Yeah, there's a couple of things I'll point out really quickly. This I know, because that's from one of my photos in Spain, is a big rock that's going back into space here. But here it just feels like a big lump, and it's because there's no like overlapping or barely any overlapping, and nothing to really tell us that this is further back than this. So I don't, you have to figure out kind of how you're going to do that. And I don't imagine this painting's fully done. Yeah, so there's that. And then see the nice turn in the tree, and this full well may be in the photo and I never noticed it, but it's exactly at the point where the water is. So that's just kind of an unnecessary tangent that was a little bit disruptive for me. It looks kind of like he's about to have a sit down. It doesn't look like a guy sitting down. I'm going to sit down here on this area or something. And then the last thing is that this branch gets thicker as it goes away from its root, as it's from its trunk. And so that just makes it look kind of awkward, as opposed to, it looks like the branch should be starting here and then getting thinner as it goes towards the trunk. And then if we can just kind of looking to every branch is growing right off the side. That means there's no branches in the front of this tree. And again, maybe that's true in the photo, I don't know, but that flattens out the tree and it loses a little bit of its three-dimensionalness. But yeah, beautiful colors. I love the textures. That's really a neat effect. Pretty good use of the kind of using the brush to make its own leaves, but a little bit maybe too much. You might want to save it for some areas and not have so consistent. Yeah, good. But it is a nice painting. It reads well. It's beautiful. I think you could almost put that in a frame already. Okay, kind of does it.
Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. Barbara, were you here still? Did Barbara leave? Okay, yeah, we're a small group. Do you guys mind if I do one very quick thing? And that was read you that little paragraph I wrote, well, with help from Facebook.
Go for it.
Paintings. So I wanted to, oops, not available painting, sorry. I wanted to start a section of just the illuminated tones, just to keep them kind of separate. I think they can be confusing when they're intermixed with all my others. So here's a whole series that I've got so far. And here's what I wanted to read you is just my description. Maybe you can even do like we used to do in school, close your eyes and just kind of give this a listen and let me see if you guys think, pretend you don't know about art very much and pretend you just have, anyways. All right, illuminated tones. I have developed my own particular style called illuminated tones by combining and expanding on the traditions of tonalist and luminous paintings. Within each painting, I aim to create natural, earthy colors that appear as though lit from within. I emphasize patience and tranquility by incorporating a meditational sense of aerial perspective. These paintings inspire self-reflection and space for personal nostalgia while appearing timeless. Period.
I like that you took away tasteful word, tasteful that you used in the beginning. I didn't like it in the text.
Yeah, I used to have tasteful, natural, earthy colors. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I took out a couple words. I also had calm in there right next to tranquil and realized that they're just synonyms and are basically the same word. Yeah, a couple of different things.
I think it's really good as a copy piece. And I have worked in marketing and design for a long time. Just kind of give it's good, Michael. It's really good.
Good, yeah. I wanted to describe the history, describe what I want it to look like a little bit, and then I wanted to describe why you should buy it because it's meditational. And
yeah.
So not to nitpick, but I don't like the word patience.
Yeah.
And tranquility. It bothers me a lot. But I've also spent a lot of time writing copy. Is there another word that someone could suggest to use there instead that would say the same thing?
Yeah. Or like you say, less is more, maybe just remove.
Maybe peacefulness. Maybe peacefulness.
Something like, yeah, peacefulness, patience.
Or just tranquility.
Yeah, tranquility. A lot.
Yeah, because patience to me sometimes is a double-edged sword. Like, we say in our family, oh, your patience is showing, and it's derogatory. So maybe it's just my personal thing, but how about timeless?
Well, I use timeless down below.
You did, okay.
Or just, I emphasize tranquility by incorporating.
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah, just get rid of that.
Or serenity.
Yeah,
it's a good
Oh,
word.
serenity is a really nice word.
Mhm.
I emphasize serenity.
I like serenity. Serenity and tranquility works very well.
Let me write a note so I can get back to that. Serenity. Okay, great. Thank you guys.
And then
Yeah.
could I add one other?
Of course you can.
If we're like nitpicking.
Good. No, I want nitpicking. Yeah.
So instead of having two sentences in a row that start with I,
Yeah, I
could you?
tried so hard to get rid of that.
No. Yeah, so could the first one start with by combining and expanding on the, I'm having trouble reading it small, on the
So
traditions of
that's actually
tonalist and
how I-
luminist. And
that's
then
how
I have developed my own particular style called illuminated tones. So you just take
So
the first
that's-
part, make it the second part. So you start with the word by.
That is truly how I started it.
Oh.
And in my first writing, and people said that it kind of took too long to get to illuminated tones, and it weakened my stance.
Okay.
By not just saying, yeah, I know, I went back and forth with that, but I quite literally, I had that.
So then, so
So,
then, and for the second sentence, then instead of starting with I am, it just disappeared.
yeah, where did it go?
Yeah, so here's like the new version. Here's the look at all these different versions.
Mhm.
So I
Okay,
really am working at it, and I also looked up all the, the definition for tone, both tone and or tonalism, luminism, and then I looked up the tone definition for tone because I love it because it's used in music, it's used in writing, it's used in film, and it's also hints towards tonalism. And then luminism I really like because that's an art form and it means to light up or to, to bring light to something, but it also yeah, so I really liked the title Illuminated Tones. I
Yeah.
don't know what you guys think
So
of that.
I think there's an easy fix. If you can you go back to the,
yeah,
there
go
we
back.
go. Okay. So then
So,
instead of I aim to create, can you just do creating natural earthy colors that appear?
Can you? I don't know.
so
Is that-
Michael, Susie here. Okay, I think you don't need the word within, okay? I think you could say in each painting, or I think you could just take out those 3 words within each painting. I would put I aim to
Or
create
just,
Then we have
natural
another
earthy.
sentence starting with I.
well, or you started that one within and then you ended that sentence within. So maybe just take out the last within.
Yeah,
So
But I never noticed that painting.
because you got 2 withins.
within the
just
same
start-
sentence.
No. Could with
How about-
would work?
How about my aim is to create natural earthy colors that appear and then
That's
take out as though, you don't need as though,
Yeah, I agree.
that appear lit from within.
Bringing this back here, so new version, so we can just do quick edit on this because this way we can actually edit it. Okay, so here we are. So I'm going to get rid of patience. And we're
And put
going
in
to
serenity. And then that second,
okay.
it's my aim is to create and then take out as though.
And I'm just going to make them bold, whatever we're changing. Okay, what?
My aim is to create, but this isn't exactly the same as within each paint. My aim is to create natural earthy colors that appear lit from within.
Or my
But
goal.
I think that it is good as it is now in this sentence because it is within each painting. I aim to create. I think it's good, but I worked with text text, and so. But I'm wondering a little bit about this meditational sense of aerial perspective. Do people know what aerial perspective is? Isn't it a little bit for too technical term to them?
Yeah, I mean, I could put atmospheric.
I think that would be better because aerial kind of sounds like you're looking from above, like a drone shot.
Yeah, I think of a drone.
Yeah, that was my take too.
Uh-huh.
Atmospheric is, yeah, what you talk about a
I thought
lot.
it was such a long word that it got cumbersome, but yeah, I think so.
Michael,
But we
you
still
know, I
have
was just
within. Yeah, go ahead.
looking at that first sentence. What if you started the sentence with illuminated tones? Is my own particular style that I developed by combining and expanding.
Then you
Yeah.
get
That's
rid of,
good.
That can be good.
and then you can get rid of the too many eyes.
Mhm.
No, that's exactly, except for illuminated starts with I. I'm just kidding.
Um,
Illuminated tones.
what about, instead of
Is-
saying my aim,
Has
my
been.
goal?
Hold
My,
on.
my
Illuminated
goal.
tones is a style, is a style I have developed
But, okay, but that just,
by combining.
but having the plural of tones, and I get what you're saying, it is one thing, but having tones is, to me, is a little jarring.
No,
Doesn't bother
Illuminated
me.
tones is,
is a style. You wouldn't say are a style.
no, I know, I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
But you have impressionist paintings, not impressionists paintings, except for if it's by
Right.
Keith.
right,
You're naming it illuminated tones, so that should stay
Okay.
like that.
All right, that's fine.
yeah, no,
Illuminated.
it should stay the same, I'm just saying it.
You could even say a style I have developed by combining and
That's what-
expanding. Instead of starting out with illuminated, a style I have developed by combining and expanding on traditions of tonalist.
Although
Yes,
from a marketing
yes.
standpoint, illuminated, beginning it with that name is kind of reinforcing.
Yeah.
It's boom, illuminated
That is
tones.
it's strong.
Yeah, I'm surprised I never tried to put it in the front, very front of this sentence.
By
But
combining.
this is good.
Yeah, it makes a sentence 3 words shorter too, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice. Illuminated tones is a style I've developed by combining and expanding on the traditions of tonalist and luminous paintings. Perfect.
So now, Michael, like totally off subject, but not really. Now you need to trademark illuminated tones?
You can't.
Really?
No, I literally looked that up. Like I went and asked
Does
one-
somebody else own it?
No, it's I don't think you can trademark styles.
Ah,
So I don't know if I can trademark an art name. I did look it up, but I can't remember why I.
Well, you know, do you guys remember that ridiculous painter? He did all this illuminated things, you know,
Yeah,
he
was a painter of light trademark.
painter of light, okay.
Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah, oh, thank you. When my grandmother, when she got kind of senile, started painting in his style, and I was like, oh my God. But he did
Oh,
he did trademark painter of light.
yeah,
Mhm.
painter of light. Yeah, exactly. Well, like Donald Trump could not trademark "you're fired."
But Nike could trademark Just Do It?
I don't. Did they?
I don't know, I thought they did.
Yeah, they did. So I don't know. I mean, I used to do some
mean,
trademarks with my business, but I don't know that. I mean, they were just names. So
No, and I also don't like. I remember that seeing that little trademark sign at the end of his name.
I know, it just drive me nuts.
And I don't want that because I remember just cringing every time I saw that. He's like, oh, you know what? There's another painter that, oh my gosh, his trademark was, I can't remember his name, Long Jiang Zong or something, master of painters
Whoa.
trademark.
He didn't
No
check
ego
with me
there.
first.
Yeah, it was just cracked me up. Master of, let's see if he comes up.
I gotta go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. No, he doesn't pop up anymore. It was crazy. Anyway, so I still got to deal with within. So we don't. I appreciate what you said, Irina, but yeah, I'm not sure having a sentence begin and end with the same word, unless I'm a rapper, really works.
Let's see.
But if you just write in each painting,
Okay. Now we can make every sentence start with the letter N. I mean.
Could you just say lit from inside? That not feel as warm?
Lit from
that
inside.
would motivate people lit from inside. That I don't even know what that means, lit from with inside. I don't think the
Well,
image.
it does mean within, but yeah.
Well,
I can always just say glowing or
glowing's such a good adjective. It just feels positive.
yeah. I mean, as pure as though glowing, but it's
Would it be too weird to say with each brush stroke, I aim to create natural earthy colors, blah, 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 instead of in each painting?
But you
I
don't
don't like
create
earthy
colors with brush strokes.
Yeah, I think that eliminates people that don't like earthy colors and want bright colors. I would just use the word glowing.
but it's a weird scent. That's just a weird ending that appears though glowing.
Yeah.
Glowing.
If you
that-
take away that appear,
What about just
as though
glowing tones?
there's the
Glowing
colors that
tones.
glow.
You could just say that glow from within.
Glowing tones is a
Then we still
style
have
that I
within,
have
yeah,
developed.
Well, I guess if we got rid of the first one, right? We changed it to in each
Glowing
painting.
tones is a style that I've created.
No, it's
No, not
eliminated.
glowy, not glowy.
Of this, oh, except for then we got I again.
Mhm.
Or what about if we started with aiming?
Or my goal or something.
Yeah, it is good with aiming to create natural.
mm,
My aim is to create natural
I
earthy
aim for-
colors that glow
yeah,
from
I
within.
Wow.
emphasize serenity and tranquility. If you make one sentence of two.
you could say
Aiming.
my aim for each painting is to.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Aim for each painting.
I'm so visual and I can't see this on the screen. It's driving me nuts.
I can blow it up.
For each painting is to create natural.
How do I make the whole thing bigger? I don't want to just make the letters bigger.
No,
And then, hey, Michael, instead of saying I aim to create or I strive to create, own it. I create.
Okay, but then we got another letter or another.
No, I know. But I'd like you to own it because that's what you're doing. You're not trying. You're actually doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting your rejects where you didn't do it. Which I love. It's just funny.
That is funny. I think they're still glowy, just, you know.
They are glowy. They're plenty glowy.
They're finished, yeah.
No, I know. I was giving you a hard time because you gave me a hard time. I don't know. I can't do this without like having it on a monitor and
Oh,
typing.
exactly. Yeah, no, I totally get it.
with the natural earthy colors.
I don't know. Yeah, so let's see where we're at real quick with this, and we'll call
There
it.
I go. I can read it.
So,
Yay.
Could I make one suggestion?
By combining and expanding, take away this on. By combining and expanding their traditions, or
Spending on the traditions of. I'm not sure I fully heard you. I think you're broke up a little bit there.
by combining and expanding, is it right to have on the tradition, or do you need on here, or
Oh, yeah, maybe. Well, I'm expanding on them. Yeah, I don't know.
No, you need the on.
okay.
Great paintings using natural.
And then could you I create
Here's after that, I create paintings using natural earthy colors that appear as though lit from within.
Don't need I there. We can use they.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that emphasize serenity and tranquility.
Can you just start with that though?
Well, no, I mean, as part of the sentence prior, as part of the,
Yeah, it'd have to be a comma instead
Yeah.
of a period.
That work?
that emphasize. Serenity and tranquility by,
Seems like a long ass sentence with a lot
Yeah,
of.
It is-
no, no. Paintings using natural earthy colors that appear. You can either do as though lit from within or that appear to glow from within.
Yeah, that's what we were.
And then, and emphasize serenity and tranquility. Oh, boy. Yeah, no, that's really, really long.
So should I go back to maybe they,
Well-
just starting with they?
you can leave, well,
It's so funny how 4 sentences of driving me mad for like 3 days.
Maybe it is better to find some other word instead of emphasize, and they should be.
I think I like
be
the
taken.
and.
Maybe
Emphasize
they impart a sense of, they impart serenity.
Yes, yeah,
they-
maybe.
Oh, I like that. That's better. Yeah.
So with, I think with an I, maybe. I think it's
Yeah,
impart.
so we were trying to get rid of having multiple sentences with the letter
Yeah,
I.
no. I mean, I think impart, I think starts with an I.
Yeah, it does. And then is everybody comfortable with they impart
Maybe
serenity?
maybe which impart serenity. Earthly
start with-
colors that appear which
Or-
impart serenity.
My paintings impart serenity.
Yeah, maybe painting
Right.
is better.
My art imparts serenity. I don't know. I'm just playing in my head.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. This style.
How about this? This atmospheric perspective imparts serenity and tranquility by incorporating a meditational sense.
Would it just be the?
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
Mhm.
Okay, so say it again. Would it be the?
No, it was this atmospheric perspective.
But how do I start with this? Because I haven't talked about it yet.
Well, I create paintings that use naturally that appear to glow from within.
Like,
Oh,
no
okay.
better than lit.
My,
How about my
Right.
atmospheric perspective?
what
Or
is
the-
your deadline? What is your deadline on this?
Whenever I want it to be.
So could we like maybe each like take a screenshot and noodle it or something and then send it to you?
Yep. Should
Like
I?
by the end of today,
Oh,
tomorrow?
there's literally no rush, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh.
if it's driving you crazy, let's get it done. It'll drive me
Well, okay,
nuts
but
too.
this is being done by committee.
It's a fun puzzle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
Fun, but it's not going to come up with necessarily like the finished product.
No, what I'm saying is the not finishing it would drive me crazy. So, and
Right,
why
I'm
don't
just
you
saying.
post it on the Padlet?
Sure. And what was this
Michael?
last sentence about where we put atmospheric at the beginning? This, just so I have a note of it. This
Yeah.
atmospheric.
This atmospheric perspective imparts serenity and tranquility. It basically just puts that at the beginning of that sentence. Imparts serenity and tranquility. You could say by incorporating or comma incorporating a meditational sense
Ooh, I like either.
or a sense of
Probably just
meditation.
the comma.
Yeah. There's a practicality.
How about
Incorporating
and
a sense of meditation or a meditational sense, either one.
But isn't it better with just the atmospheric perspective instead of this?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just put it as a possible option here and just something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, you can see all my notes about what tone means in different things. Tone in art, tone in tonalism, the history of tone. I really kind of went for it. This is way more than I ever did for school. Luminism, tone day. I was so excited by the idea of the illuminated tones as a title. And I just felt like, holy cow, it means luminism and tonalism. And I can't believe it. I've looked it up all over the place and nobody's used it as far as I can tell. I mean, I think there's like a music company or something that uses it from time to time as and things. But yeah, so I really feel like, oh man, because part of marketing is taking something and kind of making it your own so that you can talk about it.
And I think it was a very good idea, because I was kind of wondering about tonalism and luminism, because the way you do it, it's not just tonalism, because you have this, I don't know.
Yeah, no, my work's never been pure tonalism, and it's definitely not luminism, even though it has some aspects of it, because again, my brush work doesn't fit into either category. And then with the wiping away that I like to do, that's not in either category. And yeah, it's funny because I even have that tonalist group on Facebook that's now like up to 3,000 members, that I started by literally letting one of my classes just go after we were done with the tonalist class. And it's funny, about half the times I post, some random person's like, this isn't tonalism. I'm like, it's my group. But I know it's not. So yeah, creating a whole new thing that is mine, it can be whatever the heck I want.
I think this looks pretty good. One question I have is the last sentence. These paintings inspire self-reflection and space. Well, yeah, that's for personal nostalgia. Sorry, self-reflection.
Yeah,
Maybe provide or create space, or inspire.
I like provide better than create.
Okay, space for personal nostalgia. And then you could even, again, I don't know if you want to put a comma instead of the word while, but while isn't bad. It's not a bad thing.
It feels like we're introducing a whole new idea right at the very end of the sentence, which feels a little weird. But yeah, I mean, people definitely, that's like a very common comment, and I went a lot off comments I get when I do post on Facebook and stuff of, how they do feel there is somehow a nostalgia innately in them. And I don't know if that's just because of the browns and sepia tones that it feels nostalgic, but one lady wrote me a really nice note about how it just instantly brought back memories of her, departed grandfather and stuff. And I was like, that's such an interesting thing that paintings can do that for some people. And I really liked it. And I like the idea of personal nostalgia, not like just trying to, capitalize on, some old fad, but it's, and then they do kind of, I hope they appear timeless, because I'm always nervous of my paintings feeling dated, dated like as in, oh, that's so 1990s, that painting, so anyways, those are all ideas.
I don't think you have to worry about that, Michael. Your paintings are not dated at all. I don't see that. I mean,
I like that ending of timelessness though, because I think that just that word in itself, it is a wonderful way to also get people to think about this as an investment that will last forever. So I love having the word timeless at the end. That's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. Do you like comma or while? I still kind of feel like I lean towards while a little bit. I don't know. Any preference on that, comma or while?
I think it's better without while.
You like it better without it, with the comma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better. And I think about this this atmosphere. I think that I don't like this in the sentence. maybe it is better the atmosphere perspective they create imparts serenity and tranquility and so on.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was just, let me, X, I almost want to put it here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I put it,
No. It the atmospheric perspective they create. Uh-huh. No. That's not what I meant. It was better before.
okay. Can you tell me you liked it with the, I was just trying to figure out how to get,
Hey, you guys, I'm gonna bug out. We only got 2 hours before the mentorship group, and I gotta eat lunch.
holy cow.
I bet you do too, Michael.
Oh my gosh, I gotta eat breakfast still.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I will see you guys. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, fellow participants.
Yes.
And see you next week, if not sooner.
Okay.
All right.
Bye. I'm going to take off too.
Yeah, no, we all should. I apologize. You guys are so generous to do this.
Put it on Padlet so that we can read more and think maybe.
Yeah, I'll put it on Padlet. Is that what you mean?
Huh?
Serenity and tranquility through a minute. I mean,
What time meant? What
excuse
time
me.
meant? I thought this way. The atmospheric perspective they create impart serenity and tranquility, and so on. The atmospheric perspective they create
But we've already used,
impart serenity and tranquility by incorporating a meditational sense of no. No. So they impart serenity and tranquility. Point.
And sense is a weird word there.
yeah, and we've already got that Michael creates the paintings. So I don't know. I create paintings using natural earth that appear to glow from within. They impart serenity and tranquility through a meditational sense of atmospheric perspective.
What a synonym for create?
Makes.
But I think we want to keep
No.
it Michael creating.
Yeah. I actually better go too, you guys. I really appreciate your time. I'm gonna go ahead and just drag and drop all these versions that I have here. So we have the different versions onto Padlet. And I
Okay.
would love, I mean, you guys are going way above and beyond anything. I'm just gonna put it on, I'll put it above my artwork here. Woo, no breaks. Man.
And this is going to go at the beginning of your next book or on your website? Tell me.
Now I have it on my website above the work, just kind of describing it and
Okay.
what the illuminated tones. I would have probably under here, I would probably have what is illuminated tones,
Okay,
and kind of a press release kind of a thing.
sure. Yeah, that's helpful to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Exciting.
this does not work, so I'm going to paste it into Word, and then I'll bring the Word file into here. So let me do that, and I will do that real quick. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you. It's good to see you, Lisa.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Michael.
See the painting today, Lisa?
Am I gonna paint today?
No, I said, did you see the painting that we did here?
Yes,
Okay, great.
yes, I loved it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, I joined a little bit late, but yeah, that was great. And I wasn't really sure. I got here late. So I got here in the middle of the numbering the paintings frenzy. So I don't know exactly how it works, but I sent you an email saying
Oh, good.
here's the one that but I don't know how it works. So just let me know.
Okay, yeah, and it was a name your own price.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
do
it's,
that,
yeah,
but maybe you can just tell me what it would.
$25 for shipping, and then name your own price after that.
Okay, okay. I didn't do that piece because I wasn't sure how it worked, but okay. So
And
should I
then,
go back and do that, or do you just want to tell me? Because I said in the email, I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, no,
So
you just name your own price. Yeah, what you want to pay. If it's one of the abstracts, the money will go to my daughter, just because she's the one that inspired me doing abstracts and get money for college. One of the others, the money will go to me. And yeah, it's just helping me. You know, I wanted to provide enough so that everybody can have a painting. And I wanted, you know, I know everybody's of different places and they're whatever, where, you know, money is an issue. And so, yeah, I just put it out there, and yeah, so great.
okay. Well,
I will let you pick that, put a price on there, and I'll let you know. It's kind of going to be a first come, first serve on there, and I will.
right. So if I got here late, well, I did get here late. So just let me know if I did get one of those, and if I didn't, that's okay. And then if I did, then I'll give you.
Great. Yeah, and I'll just
That's
need
wonderful.
name, address, and how you would like me to, you know, bill you. If you want to
Okay.
send a check, or if you'd rather do whatever, all the other stuff.
Okay. All right. And you're doing okay? How are your folks? I know that your mom.
Good. Yeah, she's doing well. She got good news yesterday, and